Hello everyone. I came across a random article about Philippines considering connecting to the Russian financial messaging system, SPFS, to trade with Russia. I was intrigued, and following some research on this topic, I can even say that I was very surprised. I think to pay attention to what is happening around China, India and Russia is very important for any investor these days. Changes from those regions can affect any of us regardless of where we are located. Apparently, there is a lot of action going on behind the scenes involving major players like India, China, Russia, Brazil and others, working on new alliances that might have big implications for the world economy. I'll share some facts and my opinion on what it means for the dollar and the position of US as a world leader. Let's start with basics. SPFS is the Russian version of US-sponsored SWIFT interbank payment system. As we all know, international sanctions imposed on Russia after its invasion of Ukraine severed some of Russian banks from SWIFT. So it was not unexpected to see some news about new alternatives in response to sanctions. Up to this point, I considered reality of establishing alternative to SWIFT a very remote possibility, so I would normally ignore this type of announcement. First off, it is coming from Russian news agencies, so you never know if it is a genuine news or just some propaganda. Unfortunately for all of us, it is really hard to trust anyone these days, including United States, so I consider all sources with suspicion. Secondly, I regarded the impact of such system on world economy as insignificant up to this moment. Important emphasis, this moment. Today's world is changing very rapidly. I believe we all should rethink what is possible, what is not, and try to prepare accordingly. So I decided to do some digging out of sheer curiosity. Just wanted to see if there is anything worth sharing with you, and I think there is. First, I would try to give some definitions to avoid any confusion. Besides Russian SPFS version of SWIFT, there is another Russian payment system, called MIR, designed for retail consumers. Just like Visa or MasterCard. MIR, which translates as peace, a little ironic, given Russian expansion into Ukraine. Let's head over to Wikipedia. MIR is a Russian payment system for electronic fund transfers established by the Central Bank of Russia. MIR does not itself issue cards, extend credit or set rates and fees for consumers. Rather, MIR provides financial institutions with MIR-branded payment products that they then use to offer credit, debit, or other programs to their customers. The development and implementation of MIR was spurred by the imposition of international sanctions against Russia in 2014 to circumnavigate the reliance on the likes of Visa and MasterCard. Next paragraph: what surprised me the most. Let's read on. MIR cards were initially accepted mostly by Russia-based companies, such as Aeroflot and Russian Railways, but it gradually became popular among foreign companies with operations in Russia. In April 2016, AliExpress became the first foreign company to accept MIR as a form of payment within the Russian Federation, and McDonald's was the first US company to accept it 3 months later. I don't know if you are familiar with AliExpress. It is Chinese version of Amazon on steroids. I do not have specific numbers, but I would bet that vast majority of consumer products we buy on Amazon are coming from that marketplace. Just let it sink in. Biggest online wholesaler is accepting Russian payment system. Let's expand on that and use some imagination. If you are a business owner in India or Turkey or anywhere else and doing business with Russia using Russian payment MIR, now you can use the same system to shop on AliExpress. There is a stipulation on Wikipedia. It says AliExpress accepts MIR payments within Russia only at the moment. But implication is the same. It appears that adoption of this retail payment network is growing, and as far as I know, cross-border trade between China and Russia is blossoming. I wouldn't be surprised to see expansion of this Russian MIR system beyond the borders of Russia. Technology is there, and it's been used more and more. You will find some information that Iran, Venezuela are in advanced stages accepting Russian MIR payment system domestically. Just FYI. Now back to the Russian alternative to SWIFT, SPFS. We will tie everything together after we have gone through some definitions. All of this is new to me, and it can be new to you as well. Let's head over to Wikipedia again, this time to get some information on Russian SWIFT alternative, SPFS interbank payment system. It is not a customer-oriented system like MIR. It is an interbank payment system designed to facilitate international trade. SPFS is System of Transfer of Financial Messages, Russian equivalent of the SWIFT financial transfer system, developed by the Central Bank of Russia. The system has been in development since 2014, when the United States government threatened to disconnect Russia from the SWIFT system. Given the fact that Russian foreign trade is threatened, Russia has all incentives to accelerate the adoption of this SWIFT alternative. Let's read on. The Russian government is also in talks to expand SPFS to developing countries such as Turkey and Iran. I have seen a lot of diplomatic activity between Russia, Iran, India, and Turkey. These countries historically had a lot of bilateral trade. Iran is working with Russia on energy and heavy industry and has historic relationships with Russia dating way back. Turkey earns a lot of revenue from tourism from Russia, but also exports a lot of goods to Russia while consuming Russians' energy. India had economic and cultural ties with Russia going back to the times of communist USSR. More from Wikipedia. Since 2019, many agreements have been reached to link SPFS to other countries' payment systems in China, India, Iran, as well as former Soviet republics, who are planning to use SPFS directly for cross-border trade. At the end of 2020, there were 23 foreign banks connected to the SPFS from Armenia, Belarus, Germany, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, and Switzerland. Next paragraph, again, is very revealing. On March 17, 2022, Chairman of the Russian State Duma Committee on the Financial Market, announced that the Bank of Russia and the People's Bank of China are working on connecting the Russian and Chinese financial messaging systems. He also pointed to the beginning of the development of information transfer schemes using blockchains, including the digital ruble and the digital yuan. On March 31, 2022, the Economic Times published information that India has offered Russia a new transaction system with the transfer of trade to the ruble and SPFS, which will work through the Reserve Bank of India and Russia's Vnesheconombank. According to the same data, the system will be put into operation within a week. In April 2022, Russian central bank governor said most Russian banks and 52 foreign organizations from 12 countries had received access to the SPFS. Now let's try to draw some conclusions. On a most basic level, China and India represent over 30% of the world population and are most likely will be the economic engine of the world's economy in the years to come. Russia is one of the major resource producers which possesses developed industrial, military and scientific base. As we have seen, each country develops its own payment systems and now at the stage of interconnecting cross-border payments, bypassing traditional Western channels. If you add Brazil, Iran, Turkey, Venezuela and others, you will start to see the scope of this new world alliance. Accidentally, all of those countries did not join US and EU sanctions against Russia. Matter of fact, only 50 out of 190 countries did, which should tell you where the balance of power is shifting. To judge for yourself the stage at which this parallel international financial system is at, just search for articles about SPFS, BRIC countries and Asian Pacific alliances, but try to separate opinions and propaganda from the facts. Given what I have discovered, my notion of low probability of new payment systems coming online soon is shifting. Given the urgency for all players to protect themselves due to the reckless actions of the current US administration with sanctions, I wouldn't be surprised to see the first implementations of new systems within a year or two. It will be small at first, involving just few countries with established ties. But once countries realize that the United States cannot punish dissidents en masse, the modest exodus might turn into a major flood. The incentive to support lifestyle of US at the cost of your own economy is very low and can only be maintained with coercion. Matter of fact, this Russia-Ukraine war is a challenge to the existing world order. This is the reason US is putting so much effort into this conflict. If Russia prevails, its status in the world will change dramatically. All those countries currently harboring resentment towards US but keeping a low profile will join a new leader. That's why US is going all out to weaken Russia and prolong this conflict. Now to the major implication for US dollar holders. US economy functions mostly due to its currency status and well-developed financial system. Take that away and whole house of cards will come down. Now we are exporting inflation through trade deficits and our dominant geopolitical status. But what happens if it changes? Do we see the signs of change in power on the international scene? From what I have seen in the ways our current administration handling difficult situations, I can only summarize my mood by using Star Wars expression: I have a bad feeling about it. For those of us living in US, events on developments around challenges to the dollar as a reserve currency are not even on a radar. There is an information blackout on this topic from the mainstream media, and the only way to gain this is by stumbling across some independent publications like this one or searching on your own. Maybe it is intentional, maybe the mainstream media is driven by the inertia. It is better to sell some ads by talking about some drunk celebrity or misdirecting public with abortion debate, while the tectonic shifts on geopolitical stage are swept under the rag. I think it's a combination of both, inertia and a purposefully selective delivery of news. Unfortunately, it feels like US is reacting and just trying to preserve its privileges, while the rest of the world no longer wants to be bullied around. Current administration's energy and foreign policies are a good example. After few steps to demolish domestic energy production, Biden is flying to Saudi Arabia to shop for oil, while texting Venezuelan president asking for help after years of trying to depose him from power. Go figure, well played. So, to summarize, with the rise of regional bilateral economic ties that do not involve using dollar or established Western financial infrastructure, I am taking bet on hard commodities like gold. When financial reset comes, it's better to have some insurance in place. I will leave this topic at that. I am not a financial advisor, these are just my personal observations and opinions. Thank you for watching. If you are new to this channel, please subscribe and hit that notification bell so you can be notified when a new episode comes out. Until next time.